Again, YouTube, this is Dr. Kendo, and I'm back with Scribblenauts Unlimited. This is the Object Editor Commentaries where I create your favorite characters from movie, gaming, TV, nerd, and geek culture-related items, things like that. And I create whatever is most popular or most requested each week. We're starting off with a unicycle as the source object here in the Object Editor, and we're going to be building a lot of the stuff around the tire first, because we are going to be able to create the head and body separate for this object, which seems kind of odd almost in some respects, but in another respect, hey, I mean, it gives us a chance to, I guess it allows us more detail to the characters, and that's often why I do any character as a separate head and body object. And so anyway, we are going to be creating two characters in honor of the Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. I am so excited for the movie, and it's like, it hasn't even really felt super real until this point, you know, so very much it's just hitting me now that the movie is, well, at the time you guys are watching this, it's out now, but at the time I'm recording it, it is actually not out yet. So yes, I'm actually recording this episode pretty decently far in advance. I mean, the movie comes out in 2 days, so I'm recording it on Wednesday the 16th. But anyway, you can see that we are starting off, our first creation is BB-8, and so we did make a sphere be right here on the wheel of the unicycle source object. We put down a circle and two hemisphere shapes that are orange. Those are those little pieces, I guess, of the character. And then aside from that, we've taken those little black lines are the upper tentacle parts of a jellyfish. You could use a squid, but I think that its tentacle pieces would be a little bit too long, actually, for what you want. They do go behind the orange and things, so, you know, maybe they would be mostly behind the orange, but this is good. I think that the jellyfish tentacle is, you know, gonna work out just fine. So then we've got cones 4 times. I'm gonna see if maybe I can use a different stamp that can convey the same thing, but for now, we'll stick with the white cones right there, the white cone shapes from the geometry library. This is a road hump right here that we're now placing on. It's like got this grayish color to it and things. These are just going to be to add some of the details that are on the BB-8 body. And so now you saw hopefully that we just put down the letter I. So just type in I, and that went right underneath the road hump. It kind of looks like a hamburger shape right now. And so yes, I think that this will actually work out to accomplish what I want. Is I'm going to use a white circle instead of those white cone shapes. We're basically still getting the same kind of idea or design or shape or whatever out of this. It's just this, you know, I can do a little bit, I think, more accurately by using chalk. So do chalk and then select the writing piece of chalk, obviously, not like billiards or the material or anything, but the writing piece of chalk, and put that on there 4 times around there in orange so that basically that circle is kind of broken up into 4 pieces. And with the other, those hemispheres down there, you did see that we put another hemisphere white on each one of them, and then put down a road hump on them as well. That's gray. And so then a pimple is actually what we've just placed down now. It's a gray pimple right there. And we're here now in the properties editor, or the scripting tool basically in this game. And so whenever this happens in my series, I like to read background information or fun facts on whatever characters we're creating. So here we go. BB-8 was revealed first in the initial teaser trailer for Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. And the name BB-8 was chosen by director J.J. Abrams. He said that he named him BB-8 almost out of onomatopoeia for one, but also based on BB-8's appearance. You know, he looks almost like an 8 shape. Anyway, I can't confirm what is enough of a spoiler or not, because at the time of this recording, as I mentioned, I haven't seen the movie, and I'm simply basing my research mostly off of the Star Wars Wikipedia. So just note that moving forward as I talk. But yes, BB-8 apparently was an astromech droid that operated about 30 years after the Battle of Endor. It also was at one point operating in the desert of the planet Jakku. And I'm personally thinking that BB-8 is probably going to be my favorite Star Wars character in the new Episode 7 movie. I know that that's probably strange to most of you, but certainly BB-8 will be epic, along with the other character that we're going to be making in today's episode, which is Kylo Ren. But even Mark Hamill said about BB-8, they never cease to amaze me with what they're able to come up with, you know? I said, how are you ever going to top R2-D2, the most adorable droid in movie history? End quote. So Mark Hamill seems to know what's up, but anyway, we started off with a road hump as the source object for BB-8's head right here, and just put basically a hemisphere up on top and covering it, and then a cannoli down below it. The cannoli has that sort of grayish white pattern, I guess, on it. There's a color pattern of different ridges and lines. And then I used a ball, one for the little eye in the middle, and a ball doubled up, one that's white and one that's black within it. So now hopefully you can see that we're also placing down a credit card, and so the credit card is painted orange. That's to be this little thing off to our left right here. Now we're just kind of going into a lot of the detailed, I guess, buttons and design features and stuff on BB-8's head. And so a marshmallow was just placed down, and now we've got a minus sign. All this stuff is the same shade of orange, so we're using that same color. And so here's a squid. You can see that now what I was talking about earlier, the squid tentacle is a lot larger, or longer, I guess we should say, than the jellyfish tentacle. And so now with everything else, we're putting down the letter I. That's going to be for just a line, I guess, underneath the hemisphere shape right now. Just a semi-light gray line. And I'm using a headband to go at the very top of BB-8's head, but, well, I guess not the very, very top, but like right near the top. Just for this, I can't seem to get it. I guess we want it facing like this. So kind of facing the way it defaults to, I guess. Not upside down. And that'll be good for this kind of stripe across his head. And I don't even know if it's a his. I guess we should say its head. And here we've got two minus signs now. The minus signs are going to be for these orange stripes, I guess, kind of near the eye a little bit, but on either side. And now we'll go once again with the jellyfish. Just again, take that kind of like upper tentacle part of it, you know, so not the end points of the tentacles, but the upper part. And now we got pimple, and that's going to be painted orange. And I chose the pimple only, it's not fully like a square shape or anything like that, but it can shrink down small enough to go beneath the ball that is white with the black ball in the middle of it. And I'll go ahead and replace the minus signs up there as the two stripes next to its eye. And the main reason for that is so that I can make them thinner. The headband is actually what we used instead, and it's a little bit thinner. And so then you hopefully just saw we placed down another pimple twice for those two little white dots, I guess, that are on there. And so here we go. Just when you create the head and the body separately, you know, you want to do some scripting for that as well. So I won't apply gravity to it. I don't think that it particularly matters in this case necessarily. But you're also going to want to go to, this is the main important part of the scripting for the headpiece, is that you want to go under the equipment tab and make sure that this one can be worn on the head like a hat. So we don't want this one to be worn on the face like glasses. In this particular case, I want it to be on the head like a hat. But here we go. This is awesome. We've got BB-8, both of our designs. So basically, the one on to my left right now, and it's kind of right near me. Oh, now it's going away. You can basically tell that one of the BB-8s is a little bit more detailed than the other BB-8. So that one that's to our right is actually just all one object. So it's if you don't make the head and the body separately, that's what you can do. So you will have to sacrifice a lot of detail and stamp pieces to create that design right there. But the other BB-8 is the one where we did the head and the body separately, and you can tell that it's got most of the details, although there are even details we could have included if we had enough stamp space. But sadly, stamp space is a limitation. A stamp, for those who don't know, is basically any little piece that you use to create your main object overall. And so now we've started off with a prophet as the source object for Kylo Ren, this crazy villain of episode 7. And so now we'll take Buzz after we took off the head of the prophet, and you're going to notice immediately that I'm painting a lot of these colors dark brown. I can only imagine, as these creation kind of videos often go, there's going to be a significant population of you that say, he's black, you know, he's got black, why are you painting it brown? But if you actually look up Kylo Ren and then go to Google Images, you'll actually see both colors represented. So it probably often depends on what lighting he's in and everything like that, but he does have a very dark brown cloak and body. Basically all of his clothes, you know, are quite single palette colors. And so we will create Kylo Ren as brown, but I will also show you the black coloration of Kylo Ren, so both of them will be done. So Don Quixote is what we've used for the arm. It's his right arm, but to our left. The main reason I did that is because there's like a shoulder piece on the Don Quixote arm that looks like it is Kylo Ren's cloak. And I did goalkeeper gloves to be both of his hands. They go underneath the arms though, so by layers put them in the back. I just put down a tube for kind of his middle belt thing that goes across his midsection. A turban is going to be for the cloak that's kind of in front of him, you know, where his neck is and his chest is and things like that. So that was a turban. And then we did a minus sign with a crazy color pattern. That's going to be for, I guess, some, you know, detail that's on the middle belt part in his midsection. And so here we are in the scripting for Kylo Ren, so we will read background information on him too. So the same rules apply about spoilers here, but I don't know what will be a spoiler for everyone out here or not. This is all information that has been publicly available before the movie's release. Anyway, Kylo Ren is the name assumed by a Force-sensitive human member of the Knights of Ren, approximately approximately 30 years after the Battle of Endor. He built his own lightsaber with a design unlike that of a typical lightsaber, so we'll certainly include Kylo Ren's lightsaber near the end of this video. But Kylo Ren is very strong with the Force and is obsessed with the fallen Sith Lord Darth Vader. He's portrayed on screen by Adam Driver, and we've been told that there's never been a character quite like Kylo Ren. As a guy who enjoyed Darth Vader in previous movies, I'm excited to see what Kylo Ren is going to be like personally, because sometimes it's the villains that have the really deep storylines and complex, interesting backgrounds, so I'm ready. Another detail that I'm going to add to our Kylo Ren creation now that I see we have stamp space is on these Buzz legs. I'm going to add this arm from the 3rd page of the 29-page library and basically give them a crazy color pattern on them, but then paint them brown. And those will just sort of be for some, like, I guess, thigh piece armor or whatever that Kylo Ren has, or detail on his suit. And so here we go for the head part of Kylo Ren that we're going to create separately. You start off with the hood, and so don't use the place, but use the clothing rather, of course. And then grab the back leg. It's in the front of the rhino's leg, so type in rhino, but then grab the leg that's behind, but obviously the front 2 legs, just the one in back. And then we've taken the middle neck piece of a crane. I used to use this stamp a lot, and so it's cool to kind of come back to that stamp piece, but it's going to be for these little like indentations that are in his helmet. 2 of them are at the very bottom, kind of where the chin is, I guess, on his helmet piece, but then we'll also include 2 other ones later on, and the reason that I'm going to do them later is so I can see where this octopus piece now, hopefully you saw I grabbed a tentacle kind of to our left for the octopus right here. It's going to be for some of the details and stuff up on the mask, I guess, for Kylo Ren up on his helmet. And so again, I haven't put down the other crane pieces because I just want to see where it's all going to fit after we've put these other details on. So, you know, for spatial, I guess, recognition and everything, and to get everything in the right space, this is something that I need to do first, get all the other details on. So then I grabbed a tentacle piece that's to the right of the octopus now, sort of in the right and in the front. And then now we're going to grab the end tentacle piece that's kind of curved like this. It has almost a C shape to it, or like a little hook shape. That's going to go on the side. And there are honestly so many ways you could create Kylo Ren's helmet, actually, and just like a lot of characters in Scribblenauts Unlimited, there are a lot of different ways. So I've mentioned this before in the past in monthly Scribble reviews and just in commentaries in passing. I've said, you know, you don't have to use what I use, but it doesn't mean that I'm better or you're better. It doesn't mean that anybody's choice was better than the other person's. So please actually don't come at me saying, you know, it would be better if you use this and why didn't you use this? You know, because everybody's interpretation is okay for what they used. So anyway, we used a squid, once again, using those tentacle pieces, and we used the back upper tentacle part of an octopus for the, basically where Kylo Ren's cheeks are on his helmet right there. And then now we're using jellyfish tentacle pieces for 3 times to be sort of these black lines that are underneath, I guess, this black octopus tentacle part where you could say his eyes are in essence. And so we've now put down those other crane piece indentations, you know, one sort of to our right and the other one to our left there near his cheek. And so now I think other than naming it, we're just gonna move around, just a few last minute adjustments on some of the details here. And this one you can make it worn on the face like glasses. So instead of worn on the head like a hat, we'll go ahead and do the glasses for this one. But here we go. So there is Kylo Ren, both the brown, dark brown, and then the black colorations. And check out what I'm holding right here. I've got the, in this game, it's called a laser sword, but the laser sword by default is always green. So if you add the adjective red to it, then it will turn red. Unfortunately, that'll make any edits, I guess, to it that you put onto it, that'll make them red too. So I actually used cobra tails, the very end piece of a cobra, and that's for the little 2 spikes, I guess, that are on the side near the handle that give it that sort of cross shape to it. And I put down a hostile man, but he's too afraid of these Kylo Ren, so I'm actually going to make him powerful and brave so that he won't just run away. And that was crazy. I forgot we're on the, since we're on the crater level right now on Scribblenauts, the character's gravity is very low, so they'll float a lot more on this level. But anyway, they made mincemeat out of that man, so let's take a, I guess, more powerful thing like the monster. So I'll just first do hostile monster, and for God's sake, it's coming after me. And okay, so yeah, with the laser sword, I mean, he just like completely abolished that monster in like 2 hits. So we'll make the monster powerful, and God, it keeps coming after me. So there we go. Now it's attacking Kylo Ren, and he still is, of course, gonna whoop it up. So that's awesome. Kylo Ren is powerful, and you probably want to make that lightsaber a little bit bigger, actually, in comparison to the size that I made our Kylo Ren design. So I will say one thing you may notice with your BB-8 design, doing it how I did, and honestly, doing it with any vehicles, this is going to happen. The wheels roll on vehicles sort of not in an even way, meaning they don't just stay in one space. So sometimes you'll actually see that BB-8's head looks like it's actually a little bit higher and off the body a little bit, but that's the illusion that the wheel gives in Scribblenauts Unlimited because it's uneven. You know, it doesn't roll on a complete, like, same axis. It basically goes up and then it goes down. So again, it will be uneven. But to me, it's hardly noticeable, so I do enjoy the design for all these characters. Again, there are so many ways you can create them, but I'm certainly happy with these. And these are both characters that have actually been asked for a long time, but in honor of the new Star Wars movie coming out just now, of course, again, this is why they have been created, finally. So I thank all of you for your support. Kendopolis is the bomb, and I will catch you on the next vid. And thanks for viewing. So you can be the viewer and
down the road of twists and turns.